minutes approved for April 2020. Go down to new business, the bid for the veteran stone wall.
Did everybody see the bid that was given by the gentleman, John Dingley? Did you happen to see that?
Yep, I did. Yep, I
Okay.
read through it. Did you guys all have one?
I
Did you get that one?
Do you want,
Was it in your
you wanna look at mine?
Was it in there?
It was on your packet, whatever.
I can
Go make another copy.
Here.
I've been.
I followed up, with John, after Dan met with him and, John Olive from Manitoba Restoration on that Saturday. I did get a hold of, John, and he, very nice gentleman. You've seen the brochure here that Tim passed around here, whatever, last month, whatever, and that stuff, and, just by talking to him, whatever, I know that he's had lots, sounds like he's had lots of, projects and done lots of nice work with the brochure there, some of that. He did tell me, that, the wall is savable for sure, and that, he thinks that it would be really nice to be able to come down and work on it. He feels that he could, get all the work done and establish what, that we, the board, park board and council would expect out of it. He also said that Mr. Olive would supply the extra stone, to fill in some of the places where we're missing some stone, and that would be all donation on John's part. But if you look at it, whatever, he kinda tells you basically what he's gonna do, what he would do, whatever, to take care of the project. Total cost of all the work and materials was, as it was $37,354. Down at the bottom, you can see there, he would, like to have, probably 5 increments in payments, to get this, to have this thing completed. I did talk to him and told him, that we had to meet tonight, and discuss about the bid. If everybody has any questions or anything like that, I can try to answer them as best as we can, or Tim can answer them, but everything's pretty self-explanatory here in the letter, that he did write. And I also told him that, the council would meet, the second Wednesday in June, so we really could not give him an answer, probably until the middle of next month, if we're gonna proceed with this, or have to put it on the back burner. And the only reason why I would say the back burner is because, first of all, we need to know what funding we're gonna have for the project. We were told, I think was it Janet that said that there was a $5,000 check that was given towards that. Did you know how much that was, on the GoFundMe page, how much they raised?
I can't remember offhand. It seems like last time I looked at it, about 500, but.
Okay.
And then I know there's some other cash donations. I
Okay.
have some cash at home, and there's a check here in the safe.
Okay. Okay. So, we would have to get some type of, total amount of money that, for people who went out and donated and given money towards this project, which is very grateful on our part here, I think, as a board and the city, whatever, to try to get this fixed. But then also, we're gonna have to have a share of the money's gonna have to come from the city, probably for this, to get done. And with our budget and way everything is setting, and I can let Tim kinda talk a little bit about that, money right now, or spending on things right now is kinda up in the air, and we kinda wanna see where our funding sets probably until the latter part of the year, like in the fall. And Tim, if you wanna talk a little bit about what, on the funding part of it, where we kinda talked.
Sure. Well, right now, with the state budget deficit, I'm anticipating, maybe not anticipating, it's not the right word, but there's, probably a good chance that we'll see upwards of a 10% cut to our LGA. That's kinda what I'm planning on right now, just to be hopefully conservative. We'll see what 1 month of shutdown, cost us, $2.5 billion. We'll see what 2 months did. So hopefully that, that'll be something that we don't see, but that's what I'm planning on right now, which for our city budget would be over $100,000 cut. We're also planning on budget cuts next year, probably at least 5%, you know, for the budget for next year. That's just what we're planning on. The council's given us a good target to try and hit. And, you know, in the fullness of time, hopefully that won't be necessary, but that's kind of the idea. I do think, you know, talking with Ronnie, we hope to, well, based on what the council tells us, we hope to create space in the budget for this to at least be a possibility. But likely, it seems more likely that it would happen during the fiscal year of 2021. So I did instruct Ronnie to talk to the vendor about potentially seeing if we could lock in a price based off of what the council's reaction and see if we could schedule it for next spring. Just because we don't know what the income will be this year. And I mean, the closer we get to the end of the year, it's fine, but once you get into the winter months, when we get our second half LGA, you know, it's probably not feasible to do the work. So, I mean, right now, the goal would be to see how much is actually required. I think Ronnie and I have said, well, you know, maybe there's around $8,000, we're hoping, or seven, you know, if we can get that number down to the city needing 30,000 or so. We did, you know, we are processing a grant application here at the city as well. We're looking at a legacy grant. So we've started that process, and so hopefully that would come in, and if it does, then that would be a positive. Obviously, it would reduce the need from the city potentially. Might be beneficial to know, you know, for the council. And so I think that's kind of where we're at right now is, you know, in the fullest of time, this board can all just make a recommendation if you'd like to. The council will take that into account, hopefully in June, and based on our budgetary output and where we're looking towards the latter half of the year, we would plan on instituting any kind of program the council sets for us that way, so. If that makes sense, Ronnie.
Yep, I think that's what was said, that's kind of what we talked about here the other day. And with this, as you can see on that one page too, that, you know, he did come from Decorah, to come down and spent his time and his travel money to come down here to look at this. And, we do have an assessment, including time and travel, of $485. So, we'll probably pay him that money for sure, for his time and his effort to come down, because that was the whole thing from John Olive in the beginning, that, you know, if someone came down to give us an estimate, whatever, there would be some time and travel money incurred on this, so, so we'll.
I think you
look
did
at that.
note in there, though, I think he indicated if we did decide to proceed with the project, they would absorb that cost as part of the overall bid.
Right,
So that
right.
is something that, you know, potentially, if we are able to do this project, we wouldn't have to pay initially, so.
Correct, so whatever the council decides and whatever, we'll go from there, and, go from there.
I was just looking at the bid too a little bit. There's a cost for the city to have to remove all the debris and supply the water and electricity. So we just gotta kind of keep that in mind too. That's gonna be an extra cost that's not figured into the bid then.
Yeah, and
One positive, just to note on that, is as part of those legacy applications, obviously they're looking for matching, you know, and we'd be matching in cash, but we could also consider some of that other work as part of a match too. So for example, if, you know, I don't know, removal debris is something that we can probably handle in-house, if we can give a number to that, based
Okay.
off of, if Ron says, well, we got 3 guys, they spent a day, you know, removing limbs and brush and things like that. You know, same thing with water and sewer, we can track those, and so that can become part of our match or our contribution too, which could be a positive for us.
Yeah, I was just
No, it's a
pointing
good
that out to
point.
make
Yeah,
sure
it's a real,
everybody.
real issue, right.
You know, 'cause that's just more expense that you don't see.
right, and there'll probably be another expense, and that's what I was just gonna point out too. It's
Can
like,
I-
we
real
have to
quick?
dig out sod.
I was gonna ask you, is there some things in here that we as a city can do?
Well,
Yeah,
first of all,
typical.
digging out the sod, whatever and that stuff, and, 6 inches deep and then 10 inches wide on the north side of the wall. And he says it does that because of the acid, whatever, that gets formed upon the wall. And he said to replace with, limestone gravel. Well, we can't have gravel next to our thing, so that's gonna have to be put into cement. So that'll be an extra cost added, onto this, because there's no way that we can allow to have gravel up there,
Right.
cause then we throw it in the pool.
Sure.
So we're gonna have to make sure that,
There's no way we could have any kind of, I mean, you couldn't put like
Oh, no.
say like, wood chips or something like that? No?
No, 'cause if the wind was blowing in the right direction, they'd see how far they could get them.
Well, that, you know,
Over the fence.
it blows in
Yeah.
the pool, so.
How about like, planting flowers or something like that? I mean, does that create the same amount of acidity if it's like a flower bed instead?
You know, that'd be a question for.
I mean, I think that actually might be kind of attractive. I'm sorry, Ronnie, I'm throwing this on you, just as I think though. I'm like, no, we could
Take
throw
notes.
some marigolds in that flower bed and maybe it would be actually an attractive appeal. I don't know. I mean,
Right.
I just, that concrete's gonna add a large,
Yeah.
that's gonna be
Yeah.
for that whole wall, that's a substantial add. I haven't thought of it.
We gotta remember, it's on a walk, it's on a sidewalk, so how many people are gonna walk onto that flower bed? It's not like it's a,
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily put the flowers right next to
the
each
north
other.
side, you're right,
but-
you're talking north side.
Yeah.
And the big thing,
North
it's
side,
only,
yeah.
it's 6 inches deep and it's only 8 inches wide, so it's not a big piece of cement. And the reason why, I can understand where he wants that, because, you know, it is dirt right up to the wall on the north side. If you went and look on the back side of it, you know, he wants just to have some, kind of a buffer, I think, of about 10 inches.
Kinda like the south side has the
Has the
sidewalk.
sidewalk, yeah, so.
I don't know, would it be possible, I mean, for such a small piece, would it be possible to do any of that in-house?
Oh, yeah, we could do that. I mean, we have no problem, we can do that,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I just hate to contract something else, 'cause, I mean,
Yeah.
not that we don't have good contractors, but I just know concrete work can be expensive.
I'd
so.
work with him and we can form it all, we could actually just have a cement truck come in and pour it. We got
Okay.
guys that, we do our own anyway on some of our
Sure.
benches and stuff.
Well, that would be alleviate some cost, I'm sure.
And maybe that's more matching.
Well, right, I mean, or that'd be something we'd have to calculate. I mean, what we'll end up doing, I think, Ronnie and I will sit down before this comes to council, based on your guys' feedback, and we'll come up with an actual number, is what we're saying, okay, so here's what his base bid is, here are the extra items that we think maybe needed to be done, and then we can kind of make it so it's as accurate for the council as possible.
Mhm. No, that sounds good. So, other than that, I'm here to field any questions or concerns. I know Chuck, you were gonna ask me something,
No, actually, it already got answered.
Got answered,
so,
okay.
yeah.
Anybody have any questions, anything about anything?
Did you actually, if I missed this, did you talk to him about setting, okay, the price, this is it, but we can't start till next year?
I told him on the phone that I said, there's a chance that we may not
Okay.
be able to start this project till next year. We did not discuss if there would be a 1% or 2, 3, 4% increase,
Mhm.
From this year to next year. So I don't know about that. So if I have to, and me and Tim sit down and figure what we do, if we gotta get a hold of him again, and the council decides to put it off to 2021, then he's gonna have to figure out basically what an increase would have to be. Yep. So.
So when we initially started this, what was the throw-out cost? It was like 200,000 or something like that?
Yeah, and then, you know, and then I
Just
think that
drop
was
down
total
to-
rebuilt of everything being
Yeah.
kinda actually knocked down and then we put all in new, you know. So that, I think that's why that was really stated
Yeah.
that high.
But this is.
Well, he was charging for the foreman's truck, for porta potty, and really, we don't need to get a porta potty out there, we have bathrooms there at the pool, he could
Mhm.
use, you know, in the park and stuff. If we do it next year, this year I wouldn't say that we could use them maybe, but, you know.
I think part of it would also, like Ronnie says, I mean, I think in that case, they were looking at a project that would be probably, a complete rebuild. This is more of a, I don't know, patch job is not right the way we will say it, but it's not gonna be a complete rebuild, so, and I know he does indicate in his letter that, this is kind of not, it's not a one-time thing. You know, I know Ronnie had mentioned about, 9 years ago, they did a rebuild, you know, they did a patch job. I think you said it was it 12,000 or something?
22,000.
22,000 at that time, so we can see, you know, 8 years later, we're looking at another, 40,000. So it's something where, you know, hopefully we can get 10 years out of it before we'd have to do it again, but this issue may not, you know, with the state of that stone, I mean, every time you get precipitation, I'm sure after this weekend, I mean, there was probably a lot of, weathering. It's not hard, it's not granite or something like that. It's gonna continue to weather, and so we're gonna have to potentially continue to think about patching and repairing it over time, so.
Is there some things that you could do now and the rest later? You know what I mean, part of the project this year and then the rest of it next
I don't know if you'd wanna do partials, I think.
I mean, you were talking about the cement, you know, pouring it and stuff in the back of it.
But he'd have to get his wall done before you could do that, to make sure you get
Oh,
down
okay.
everywhere he needs to be, you know.
Well, we might be able to remove that strip of sod.
Right.
I don't know if it's worth it, that's the
You
thing.
just, you can ask, I would just ask if there's something that we could prep or get done prior to,
It'd be
you
a
know, next year or
second
something else.
charge though, probably, cause he's charging, what, 500 and something to come up and look at it, and then if we take the bid, that goes into it, but then if we split it up, I would imagine he'd charge again, cause he'd have to come up again.
Well, even before he started his work, he wants $6,300 right off the top. So, I mean, that would be obviously money no matter what we have to give him. But, you know, there's also a couple things too, I didn't mention either here, you know, I talked about the cement on the north side, but also, we're talking about, I know it says the peaks. Them peaks are cracked. So, I wanna make sure we meet with him and tell him we want new peaks. We want new,
No,
we don't want cracks to be grouted out and then put with expansion joints and then sanded over. If we're gonna do it right, we're gonna do it the right way, because.
Is there any way you think to cap those maybe?
I
Could
don't
you
know.
put like a tile over it or something that was maybe like a ceramic that would be, I know it wouldn't be historic, but at least it would protect that? It would keep the
Right.
water from permeating as badly?
Right, cause he does say on here, you know, he says repair concrete caps with caulk for expansion purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
And we did that before, and.
I was gonna say,
You
you
don't
recommend the
allow it.
repair and or replacement of pillar caps were needed,
And
so.
so, I wanna make sure if they
Could be
need
just
to,
a
they
few.
need to be replaced. I'm sorry, they need to be replaced. If we're gonna do it right, we're gonna do it the right way, unless there's another option like.
Well, I
Jim
think, I
said.
mean, to me, I want it to last as long as we can. So if
Yes.
we're just setting ourselves up where it's gonna be failing again in a year or two, if we have a bad winter and it cracks or something, that's kinda silly.
Mhm.
And I think where the top, where all the peaks are, where the water, you know, to go down in, I think that's a key to
Right.
have them
Keep it
either
off of the-
capped or
yeah.
nice and new, where it keeps the water, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
instead
Send
of
it away.
seeping down in. I mean, that's a key. And I know this gentleman probably knows this more than probably I do, but I just wanna make sure to let you know, I'm gonna make that, you gotta, you know, tell him that I think that's what we need to really look at and make sure that gets done. And, so, but, anything else? Anybody else, anything?
Is there some opportunity for fundraising, like, are we thinking we're gonna have festival in the park, or we don't know yet, or?
Festival in the park is
It's
canceled.
canceled?
Yeah,
Oh,
that-
okay,
that was
so
what I
that-
heard.
okay, so Legion is still gonna, they're still talking about going forward with their 100th. Maybe we could do something there. I think they're doing it outside, if I remember right, but
Well, you'd have to talk to the Legion, cause that's their own.
they're really good
That's
about
their
that.
own
Yeah, I
event,
can talk to
so.
them, no problem, but we'd have to, I want approval from the board, if I would even talk to them to say, can we set up a little table or something for donations? You know, is that something that anybody'd be interested in? I'd sit there and do it, not a problem. I've done all the fundraising anyway, so it's not a problem to continue, but is that maybe
I
an
don't
option
have a
that,
problem with
maybe
that.
we could do
No.
that if they would allow it?
If they allow it, I'd say, yeah.
I don't think they would, but, yeah, no, I don't have a problem.
They're gonna have it right there at the Legion?
I think so.
In the little.
That's what Dale Willick was talking about the other day, so.
So do we need a motion to recommend to the council to move forward with the repair on the North Park wall through reticulated stone,
I mean, if that's what you wanna do.
right?
Yeah, if that's what if that's what everybody wants, that's what the vote would be, and I mean, in the fullness of time, it's gonna be up to the council, you know, based on the financials, based on how they feel about it. Obviously, I'm more comfortable with this number than we were before, I mean, that was not gonna happen, it just
Right.
wasn't. And if this would've come back at the same, or similar number, I think we would've probably had a conclusion to the idea, but,
Mhm.
I mean, this would make me feel a little bit better if we were able to utilize a number a little closer like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll make
But-
a motion.
Okay, before it goes to council, are you gonna have these extra numbers for the concrete
Well, like I said.
talking to him about the pillar caps, 'cause,
Well, I think if you just put a number in,
'cause
instead of 37,500, just say we're gonna need, it's gonna be 45,000.
I'll tell you right now, that won't work with
No?
the council. They gonna,
They
if
want-
it's gonna come forward, it's gotta be a flat dollar, it's gotta know his, then the caps, the cement, cause it's too hard to budget.
Right.
You know, if you budget for 45 and then all of a sudden the number's coming and now it's 48 to 50, now where do you come up
Well,
with
then we're
that?
gonna have to not recommend it to the council until we get contact with the gentleman, see if we can get a price for next year. I mean, that's.
I'm
You
just
don't have
saying
to take, you don't have to take action, you know, if there's something you wanna see from Ronnie and myself, I mean, we can do that. I mean, we've waited this long, we're not planning on taking any action on the wall itself, like, it's
Right.
not gonna, you know, council said it's not gonna be torn down, so, not for the time being at least, I mean, until we have a reconciliation of this.
Mhm.
That is, you know, whatever you guys want is what you do, I mean,
It'd be a lot easier with a,
So we'll come back with more
Solid number.
definite numbers, so we've got, especially if this gentleman knows that, he may be kind of banking on that this might be a project for him for this year, for all we know.
No, he said whatever would work, this year or next year.
Okay, so it's just better to see if his numbers are,
so what kind of numbers, so what we need is, concrete, Ronnie, you wanna write these down maybe? Concrete, caps for the, you need a pen here? Yeah. Man hours, you know, and that's something we can calculate based off of current per hour wages. I don't,
Debris
I feel like,
removal.
what's that?
the
Well, that's what I
debris
mean,
removal.
it's the, you know, the man hours, we'll go out there and, you know,
Yeah.
part of it is, I would wait until, I mean, to actually do the work until the spring, because otherwise, if we do it this fall, it'll just be us going out there again in the spring and taking more stuff out because of the winter, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But so, yeah, we can calculate that, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly what kind of electrical we would need, but we can just sort of try to do best we can with that, you know, and, we do have connections in that area, so we wouldn't have to actually like bring a generator or anything, would we, Ronnie?
No.
No, so I mean, we could run some,
We got
uh,
outlets right there on the fence there.
yeah, we can run some extensions and things like that if we need to, so that should.
And the water is right there too,
Okay.
so we have no problem with that.
Is there anything anybody else wants us to add into this calculation?
Is this a one-man crew? I mean, is he working?
He said he will have maybe 2 people, him and one other guy, when I talked to him. And he said actually the other guy might be doing more of the work than him, cause he's really good at tuck point, that's what I got out of the conversation with him, when I talked to him. You could verify that, Ronnie, but.
Do we need a permit to do anything?
Well, I mean, I'd like to see exactly how his process is gonna be, because I would expect we probably have to close off part of the park while he's doing it, in terms of access and other things, but generally, you know, with the city, I would expect he's a city contractor, we probably wouldn't need to have a building permit or anything
It
like
does
that.
say in the bid does not include cost of permits.
Yeah, I don't expect to need a building permit for that, I mean, we'd just be paying ourselves, which, you know, doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
So concrete caps and then the concrete on the north side, basically, what we need.
Right.
Okay, I can call him on these caps if he can get me some type of price.
And then potentially if he's got an extra fee for pushing it off to next year too.
Okay.
Just in case.
Yep. Extra fee for 2020.
And maybe he won't, maybe he'll be fine with it, but.
You know, my thought was realistically, this is very specialized work, and with the way the economy is, it might actually be, you know, if he's smart, he'll hold off, because he may not have a lot of work next year. You know, if he has a bunch of projects already lined up for this year, they're already paid for, fine, but I'm gonna guess even some of the folks up in the metro that he works with normally are gonna kinda go, well, maybe that retaining wall looks okay for one more year, you know, or something like that, you know, but who knows?
So we'll just hold off then, till
Yeah.
you get final numbers.
yeah, I think we
Okay,
just gotta
sounds
wait.
good.
and-
I'll bring it back
Bring it back next
month.
Okay.
next month, yeah.
Great.
Perfect,
Okay,
all right,
sounds good.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
now to old business, stay-at-home order discussion, opening the aquatic center.
Yeah, just wanted to kinda give you guys an update, number one, me and Tim have always kinda talked every day, and we kinda keep, Tim sends me stuff, who closes and who doesn't close, and stuff like that, as far as the aquatic center's closing. I do know that, Wasika did close here a week or two ago, and they're kinda closing now and then. But me and Tim both believe that we still are gonna keep our date yet as of July 1st, and see what all happens. I did some research on some of this stuff. I was telling Jan today, I got online with not online, but I kind of researched this gentleman from Purdue University about chlorine and about this COVID-19 and about swimming pools in general around the United States. And he's done a lot of research in the last couple of months on it. And after reading what he said, I mean, I think we all, common sense kind of kicks in and says, you know, we know that chlorine will kill a virus. We know that. It's a, you know, it's a disinfectant and it's gonna take any kind of virus away anyway. But after reading above and beyond of not worrying about kids being in the pool, the problem is the social distancing. The problem is the sneezing, if someone sneezes. It's about the air molecules. It's about people touching surfaces, ladders, he was saying, lifeguard chairs, you name it. Drinking fountains, showers, restrooms. They would all really would have to be monitored every second of the day of who's touching what or doing whatever, basically. Because that stuff lives for 72 hours on any surface, steel, plastic, anything. So with that, he says, if you have adequate people to be able to constantly watch and follow people from behind and disinfect, you might be able to. But there's always a chance that you're not gonna be able to see everything and clean everything and anything too. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of the pools have decided, you know, you're fighting an uphill battle, to try to open. But we'll see what the Department of Health is gonna do here in Minnesota and see if they come down with maybe a possible recommendation, maybe stuff that we can do. You know, a lot of places are opening at 50% capacity. You know, I don't know, there's things there that might happen here between now and July 1st. So I think we'll still keep that in mind and keep it going forward, unless we hear something from the state that says, you know, we do not think that any aquatic centers or pools, municipal facilities should open for the summer. Then we will report that back. But our next park board meeting in June, we'll probably have to make a decision, you know, pretty close next month.
Make a recommendation.
Yeah, okay. Any more on that, Tim, did you?
Well, in this area, I only know of one city that's planning on opening their pool right now in our area, and that's Hayfield. So they right now are planning on opening on June 5th. Now, I don't know what their pool looks like. I suspect it's probably a historic pool, which, I mean, the historic pools are a little bit easier to control because there just are less surfaces. You know, if you don't have the more, you know, fancier pool like we do. You know, I think that's what I'm guessing at least. But they're planning on it, but they're also waiting on the Department of Health. Now, it's kind of fascinating that the Department of Health has just been quiet about it. You know, they've talked about a lot of other things, nursing homes and stuff like that, but they've just given us no guidance. And they know that there's, you know, hundreds of pools in the state of Minnesota, you know, city pools. I don't know why they don't, you know, say something. Because the other thing that we would have to do that Ronnie alluded to is if we were able to open, we have to develop, in order to open it, we have to develop a plan. You know, the state's requiring that for business, we would be required to do that too. Now, that 2-week period between getting the green light and going ahead and opening would give us adequate time, I think, to develop that plan. But, you know, until we know, until the state say yes or no, I think, the problem is that if one kid gets sick and the parents start blaming, I mean, the legal liability. I mean, because, yeah, we could open it up and we could have no problems, because honestly, you know, I'm not worried. And if it was adults only, we'd probably be fine, okay? But kids are dirty, they're messy, you know, and as soon as one person, you know, sues the city because their kid got sick, I mean, that's pretty much what happened.
Right, but I mean, the odds of them proving that you...
I'm not arguing that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, my argument would be
I can get
even the...
sick
Yeah.
in my own house.
But even the litigation potential
Oh, I know.
is the expense.
I know.
Because even if
Figure out a way.
we
You figure
triumph in a lawsuit, it's still gonna cost us money.
Right, no, I agree, I'm just saying,
Some way to do it.
I think something to think about.
all these essential businesses are open, and people get sick, I mean, the odds of coming back to them.
Yeah, something to think about, and first of all, the disinfecting process. You know, I've seen in the news where they've got the backpacks, these sprayers that are going and misting.
Yep.
We're gonna have to get that equipment for a pool. Okay, the chemicals that cost for that pool. So you're adding your expense for something happens, and that's all gonna be just part of the protection that we're, now, I don't think we have that, do we? Backpacks and the chemicals and,
Mhm.
so look at that expense to start with, and how readily available is that to get? Number one. To open a pool, and I know I'm a month ahead of time, but I can envision, if this opens, and there's still some distancing, functions not opening for the summer, whether it's, look when they talk about ballparks, you're putting no fans in the stands, so why, to risk ourselves of opening a pool for kids' enjoyment for a half of a season, and we do it because we do it for the kids, but how many parents or townspeople might take this as a negative, saying, now you open the pool, you're opening yourself for risk. This may come back, not that we can do it, and we might have success doing it without somebody getting sick, but how many people are gonna throw the negative statistics like, what did you do that for, because everything else is still shut down? Do we wanna take that risk to throw the negativity back on our city to say we did it, and hopefully we didn't get somebody sick? Or just take the lump for the year, shut it down, we're doing our due diligence to be safe, kids have found some stuff to do at home, parents have found stuff for their kids to do at home. I'm sure they'd probably understand, I understand why we did it, because you don't wanna take that chance. I know I'm a month early in saying this, but I think next month I would reiterate that even more, to just not do it unless,
The state comes up with
unless the
something.
state says all pools can open.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Then
know
I'm
a
wrong.
lot in a month.
So, but I don't think you're gonna see that, and I don't think you're gonna see that June 15th either, to where it's just too much going on, so. So my stand would be to wait and see, obviously we got some time to kill, but I think we'd be doing an injustice to the city if we did something with a risk, so.
Sorry to say this, but every day is a risk, no matter
Yeah.
what you do in life.
No, I agree.
Before this, after this.
Yep.
Everything we do is a risk. We have to decide if,
We wanna do that
Yeah.
or not.
but you can't stop life just because there's a potential that there's a lawsuit.
Sure, well, I mean, I guess from my perspective, and you're right, absolutely, and, you know, it's, obviously, I mean, we have a desire to open it if we can. The biggest thing that I'm driven by is the dollars and cents
Right.
cost. You know, for example, if originally, if people can recall, when this first came out, they said 50 or fewer. That was the first, like, oh, you can have 50 people or less in the group and you're okay. If we could have 50 people, and if the state said that's okay, I mean, to me, that might be a possibility then, you know, but if we can only have 10 people in the group, that isn't gonna work. I mean,
But
we
even-
can't fund the pool, even if, you know, it
But
just doesn't work out.
It's gonna be hard to open a pool for 50 people.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
No, and
There's just, you
you're not,
can't.
you're not gonna recoup any money, you're gonna lose more by opening it than,
Yeah, we have to be able to get more in there than that.
yeah. So it's, you know, it's one of those years that's gonna be a very unique year, next year's gonna pose a different problem.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it's all been solved and worked through, but to sometimes just let stuff set for the year, like I said, well, that's just next month of the meeting, but, you know, I'm still leaning towards, let's let this pass for the year and see where life goes.
Sure.
You know, it's not like we're saying we're shut down, we're filled in with dirt, or, you know, it's just,
Right.
Oh, Ronnie, I thought that was the plan.
So,
No.
but, you know, and unfortunately, in the hardware business, we're just as, you know, every day I walk out there going, look what I've touched, look at people I've come in contact with, and I don't have gloves, and I don't have a mask, and I probably should for 13 hours a day working there, 7 days a
Well,
week,
but actually, gloves are not recommended.
they're worse.
They're worse because you don't clean.
Right.
When you're going barehanded, you're
Yeah.
washing your hands a lot more often.
Yeah, well, the dirt that's on my hand usually just wipes off on my pants, so it's probably cleaner to have dirty hands than it is to have clean hands in some cases, because you also have to touch stuff or know you have to wash.
Microbiotic, too.
Yeah,
That's
there you
killing
go.
the germs.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough battle no matter how we do
Yeah.
it, no matter
So
what we
it's-
do.
Yeah.
It's
As
a-
people, as a
Yep.
city, as employers, I mean, no matter what you do.
And the state may just say no,
Oh,
Right.
and then it's done.
So as a board and
Then
members,
that's gonna happen.
let's start asking family and friends, what do you think?
They want it open,
I know a lot of people want to,
a ton, and I've heard.
just 'cause they're trying to
if
find something for kids this
you don't
summer.
wanna
Yeah,
go,
I-
then don't go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
people-
doesn't
Get that
necessarily
in
fund the
store, too.
pool. You know, one expense, do we open the pool not knowing who's gonna go and not go? And that could be, you know,
That's hard to predict, but
it is, but you
yeah.
can solve it by not opening and saying, let's jump into next year's.
Then you'll just have them coming down, you're gonna have the negativity if we just paid how many
Yeah.
millions and we're paying in our property tax,
Yeah.
and now you're not gonna open it.
kinda
And
like
there's,
politics.
Yeah, well.
I mean,
Not
it's,
gonna
no matter,
make
it's a
everybody happy.
lose-lose, no
No,
matter what we
it
do.
is.
I agree with you, it's a,
You know, it's,
you know,
I say we wait till next month
well,
and
we still have to wait till next
we're
month to
gonna
see.
know a lot.
and the state's gonna know more, and
We hope.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
We hope,
The
I
state
agree.
the state may be punting this too, because you
For
said
the same
it's a
reason.
political football for them too.
Mhm.
So if they say, hey, I don't really wanna, they've already gotten bashed for the nursing homes,
Right.
which probably was deserved. But if they just say, oh, well, cities can do whatever they want, I mean, I would love to be open, even if we were the only one open, because I guarantee you we'd have good business then.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
even if it's only 50% of the people sending their kids from Rochester and everywhere else, man, we'd be rolling in it. Ronnie, that'll get you, you know, your new tractor and everything then.
Oh,
but-
yeah.
But yeah, I think we wait till next month, see if
Yeah, we'll
something
see,
comes
but,
down and,
you know, it's just-
I think it would be, yeah, the old saying.
What
you
about the
open,
money
they'll come.
people have sent in?
That was
I think we
another
need to
thing.
return on everybody's check,
I agree too, I think we just have to.
and then just go to
return-
passes.
Return
So-
all the memberships, return all the, swimming, there won't be no swimming lessons, we just can't do that, so, 'cause then you'd be in a small group anyway, working with kids, you know,
Close together,
so,
yeah.
close together anyway, so, I think the swim lessons and all the family and individual memberships, we should just mail them back.
Okay, and I've got another question, we talked about this a little today, because people are starting to come in and get theirs back. Would it be okay, since I've got email addresses for all these people, to just send an email saying, we're not gonna open, we're destroying your check, unless you want to come in and get it? Because the postage to mail all those back is
Yeah.
gonna be astronomical.
Oh, geez,
Where
yeah,
if I
you're
can do an
right.
email and just assure people that the checks are
As
gone.
long as you can get a reply back from them, either way, make sure it's documented that you have proof that they reply.
Give 'em a
so
date.
you have an Excel made up that has all the received payments?
No.
Cause I know that would be a pain to process
Yeah.
it, but I mean, it might be beneficial to have that Excel, and then you could check people off. You know, I don't know otherwise how we're gonna document everything, if you don't get responses back from emails that people have given.
In a way, if you've mailed, given them an email and they don't respond to me, then they're saying it's okay. I
Or
mean,
they
you give
just
them a
didn't get
date
it.
and say, if you want us to mail your check back, respond by this date, and if not, we will just destroy it.
Yeah, you gotta have the date in there.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at,
And
Jack,
there's-
200, 300, probably?
I don't know, it's a full box.
Yeah.
You know, between all of the Facebook, between Facebook,
Sure.
your utility bills, that Cass and Mommy page, I'm on there.
Mhm.
I think it'll spread so quick that, hey, you want your check back, let the city know, if not,
Yep,
done.
please contact city.
Is that something we do now, or we wait until next month?
I think
we
we
could do that now.
Do it now.
Will not charge for a full season membership no matter what, so.
Okay.
I wouldn't note on there that we're not opening, period.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that
Right.
right now, based on the possibility of a
Mhm.
shorter season,
Yep.
the Park and Rec Board has told us to return full checks. However, if the pool does open, individual day passes will be available, or something
Or
like that.
coupons.
Yeah.
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 Booklets, whatever we call them.
Or we could just keep them as a donation to the,
Yeah, good luck.
Donation for the
Yeah, let us know how it
Yeah.
goes.
Right.
I won't get at this right away, so don't, you know.
Oh, no, well, we got a
don't
month.
Start promising
No,
people
we got a
that
month, so.
No.
they'll be having
no.
it immediately, but.
And once you get the wording, just email it to me and then I'll
Mhm.
put it out there. Perfect.
Okay,
Well, one more little tip here,
Yeah.
and on the weather, it's predicted that this summer's gonna be a little bit warmer than usual,
Figures.
so, that sucks.
Is what it is.
I guess we can find out how it's gonna react. Arizona opened up, so we can see what it's like, you know, in a month, what's it gonna be like? 'Cause they've opened up now, so.
Yeah, were there any pools open up down there in Arizona?
Golf courses are open,
Yeah.
Restaurants are open out
but
there.
they aren't gonna open this week.
Well, we'll find out more from what the state
Yeah.
puts out, if they do, 'cause like you said, there's hundreds of pools just waiting and looking for guidance.
Yeah.
And until we hear more, up until next meeting, and then at that point, we gotta decide.
Well, and conceptually, that's a good point, actually, that he brought up over there with Arizona. I mean, I don't know if they're comparable to us so much, but if we needed to, if the state doesn't give us any guidance at all, we could look at some of the other states in the area. I mean, Wisconsin or Iowa would be good comparables, you know, and if they have guidance, that'd be something maybe we could bring back, Ronnie, if you have time, just to check on what they're thinking. If, I mean, I know it's not Minnesota, and I don't wanna take extra risks, but it would be interesting to see what they've said for their pool. I mean, 'cause I mean, it's not gonna be any different from Minnesota. So that's gonna be striking if Wisconsin says yes and Minnesota says nothing.
Well,
I would have questions.
Is us being holding the license, our licenses are held through the Minnesota Department of Health, period.
Sure.
Every pool is, okay? So what I feel, they gotta give us some
Yeah.
type of okay
Yeah.
to do something. Because that's a license, that's your license, you're, just like I am licensed as a certified pool operator. Somebody gets sick in the pool, who they're gonna come back at? They're gonna come back to the city, they're gonna come back at me. So, I feel we need to have, for sure, some type of agreement from the state that says, you guys, pools can open, but you open at your own whatever. If they say that, then that's no problem, you
Yeah.
open it. But if the state doesn't say anything for us until July 1st and doesn't say anything about it, I mean, I'll call the Department of Health if I have to, but I need something from them.
Or we could save some of that pool
Okay.
pass money and get you a new identity.
Yeah. I just would feel a lot better for our community, you know?
This is Donnie Runger, who's our new supervisor, right? Yeah, totally different guy. Get rid of the mustache, you're good to go, all right? No, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to bring some levity to it, but I think you're right, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I just would feel so
Yeah,
much better for our
agreed.
community
Yep.
and our pool, for,
Yeah.
you know, and there's so many other people. We have a lot of people from Rochester that come.
Sure.
And, you know, everything's shut down there, Byron,
Yeah.
we're just gonna have a lot of
Austin
people.
just shut theirs down.
Mankato
Yeah.
shut theirs down, so we would have a lot of people coming from other communities,
Right.
and I just wanna get something from them.
You gotta get the
Sure.
warm fuzzy before we do anything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody's gonna go to Stratville this summer 'cause they're having 4th of July.
Yeah, I seen that. So,
Okay.
anything
All right.
else? Okay.
All right, down to the park shelter reservation,
That-
same conversation kinda.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the same thing, I agree with
I know,
Elijah.
me and Ronnie talked about it earlier today.
Yeah, and you know, right now it's set that there's no more than 10 people. I mean, that's the stay safe, whatever guideline. And maybe on June 1st, the governor comes and says that maybe he increases it, like Tim
Well-
said, to 30.
He is talking tomorrow about the next phase as far as restaurants and bars and such, and maybe that'll be part of it,
Right.
the size wise. And
Yeah.
that's tomorrow.
Yeah, and that, I
Right.
think that's the key for our, you know, like me and Liza were
Mhm.
talking, is the key about our reservation stuff, there at the picnic shelter. I mean, I know that we talked that, well, maybe we could put a sign up there, but, you know, how many, I don't mean to be
People are
mean,
gonna
but how
read
many
it?
people are gonna read it, how many people are gonna go by it? I mean, that's one thing. I mean, if you're gonna have a family picnic and you're gonna have 25 or 30 people there, they're gonna go to picnic, they're not gonna worry about a sign.
Right.
Mhm.
And all we can do is our part is saying, per state recommendations is 10 people. You post it, you let them know if they go over it.
Well, then,
But does the police department,
I don't think you
Well,
monitor,
do
you just post.
just refund the money and then
Right.
technically there's no reservation and if they wanna meet, they meet
that's
and
their
we're
own
not.
deal, they're on their
That's
own.
probably a good idea. Then we're not responsible for it.
No.
Right,
Right, if we knowingly, unless we're asking the question, you're gonna have 10 or more people, and that's part of your permit. Like when they
Yeah.
circle only 10 or something, it's almost gotta be like.
Well, when they
Yeah,
change
but
it,
nobody
it
fills
changes
that
to
in.
20 or changes to 30, you know, then those, you know,
And there's another key too, I do not wanna open the public restrooms yet, because no one's there to disinfect them and clean them.
Sure.
oh yeah, except you guys.
You know, and you're at your own risk using the outhouse there on 7th, you'll be the only one there. You know, so, I mean, you gotta look at that too.
That's a hell of a long walk.
I mean, it's the truth though.
No, you're
You
right.
know. So like I say, I like Jan's idea. I think what we do is, maybe we just go by month, maybe we just, reimburse the people for the month of May, and then reimburse the people for the month of June,
Yeah.
and then see what happens, like our pool facility by July first, and we'll go from there. Maybe they increase the numbers, you know,
And we'll,
increase the numbers.
and like say, should know more tomorrow
Right.
afternoon if he increases the numbers tomorrow.
Now, with those, how many reservations do we have, Jan?
There's quite a few right now.
'Cause this is how I look at it. Okay, I got my money down, I reserved it. Okay, let me be the control of my group that I got coming in, but I still wanna reserve that pavilion. We'll keep their money, we'll keep their money. They have to self-monitor based on whether the governor changes it to 20 tomorrow, leaves it at 10, and based on the reservation, how many could be.
They could be on the outside of the,
Okay, so what you're saying
Well,
basically is that if we've made a phone call to whoever's on the name of the registration, which we should have, and find out, are you guys still gonna be coming, whatever, and that stuff, if they say, no, we're canceling our event, then we send a check back.
Yep, and if they
Yeah.
still wanna come, it's up to them as individuals to go by whatever the governor's guidelines
Yep,
are,
and
it's
we
not
keep the
our
check.
own.
and just remember, once they're outside of the building, you're in the fresh
If we're
air.
keeping the check, then we're saying it's okay, doesn't matter how big a group it is.
They're responsible.
They are
No.
responsible, we don't
We're
have a whole
telling them
lot.
that,
We'll tell them that the
So we
rest
can
facilities
Get it
are
in
not
writing,
open.
you gotta get it in writing, they have to say, yes, I understand, we cannot have more than 10 people, or
I
Can
agree.
you make a simple COVID waiver, like they have at real estate?
It's not gonna
protect
It's-
us
No,
No, it's
none of it's
not.
gonna protect you.
Nothing
And
will.
it's all on who's policing it.
That's what I mean.
So possibly not opening the pool and taking that on that we do every year, do we just say, no reservations be paid for the pavilion,
Well,
people
the-
can book their time?
Well, if you're gonna go with no reservations
That-
and not take money, then you need to turn off electricity to it then, or, cause we're gonna lose money.
Sure, that works.
Yeah, that's true too.
But we need night lights. But
Right.
we can turn all the outlets off.
The outlet.
Yeah, see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, if you're gonna take no money, we gotta save what we can save then. I still think,
I would
I'm still
disagree
with
with
Greg,
that.
just let them go, tell them there's a limit.
They have to abide by it, it's
Abide
not
by
the
it.
city's responsibility. We're just saying that you reserve this, here's your.
Do your
space.
social distance,
your
do
If
your
you
stuff.
limit.
reserve that whole east shelter, and we do have a few people that have reserved the whole shelter.
Yeah. And at that point,
You
the
know it's
shelter's
not gonna
reserved.
use for 10 people,
yeah,
you know?
it's gonna be a big group.
If I spend $80 to reserve that shelter,
It's gonna be a big group.
it's gonna be a big group.
But that's for them to, we're just saying, we reserve it, so anybody else that's gonna just move in and say, we're gonna, it's like, no, it's reserved, okay. You know, you can't.
Otherwise, if you're saying you're not reserving it, you're not taking any money, you're leaving it open, what if you got 40 people in there, 50 people in there, we're still just as liable.
No, we're not. Not if they just show up, I don't think so.
City property.
Yeah, but I mean.
Welcome to all the property.
I would
across
say
I know,
it's-
but-
I would
I
say
mean-
it's in that case, it's akin to the playgrounds. So the governor did shut the playgrounds down for 2 weeks, and as soon as he said, fine, we took the signs down. I don't think there's any difference between those playgrounds. You know, if we wanted to post, utilize at your own risk or something like that, that's fine, but as long as it's not involving us, I mean, it's no different from some kid going out there and vandalizing it. I can't control that.
Right.
You know, and if he gets hurt vandalizing it, as long as the structure was built properly and it's not decrepit, and if the wall doesn't fall on him or something, we're okay. But I mean, to me, I don't know, this is a
Yeah.
tough situation.
I know.
Because we
Yeah,
don't want to
it
lose
is.
the revenue, but at the same time, how do we control it?
And
And
I
we're
would,
getting people that are calling and saying, we want our money back, well, our thing says no refunds,
well,
so do we,
But it-
I
I know
would,
we've
I
been
would,
telling them
I
we're
would say
waiting.
give their money back because of the COVID stuff. You know, they got refunded because of, now they're afraid, so not a problem, we'll just take the reservation off. You gotta make those exceptions regardless.
Mhm.
It's like having somebody not come in to work
Mhm.
because I feel like I'm susceptible to COVID, so I don't have to come, you can't fire me.
Well, first of all, if they call and they say they want their money back, their picnic's canceled.
Mhm.
Yeah, they want their money back,
They're
right,
not.
because their grandparents aren't coming and it
The
could've
ones
been a
that don't
90th
call,
birthday.
the ones that don't call, then it
They're
is what
probably
it is.
just sitting there like, oh, we hope the
Yep.
city doesn't call and ask them.
Right.
You know, they want to come.
It is what it is.
Yes.
Yep, but they just have to do their own diligence. You know, we're just reserving to make sure nobody else is gonna be there
to take their spot and basically let them
Right.
use
The rest is
electricity.
up to them.
We're really not saying we're holding them to it, you know.
No, right, and I would disagree on turning electricity off, because somebody wants to go up there with a group of 10 and put in 3 crock pots. I need a plug-in. I need electricity, it's not, it's
No,
not
but we were just
$800.
saying, we were
If they
saying we're
paid
not
for
paying
it.
anybody's money, is
If
what
they-
we were saying. If we
Yeah.
were taking no money, we have to turn it off.
Yeah.
If we're taking money, then you gotta leave it
Then
on.
you gotta leave it on.
So I would say we still take the money, but this, they have to police themselves.
Well, that's what I just said, I mean, they're gonna tell the people that are gonna cancel, and they want their money back, we should be able to give them money back. It does stay in our formula, we have no refunds, but on the COVID-19 deal, I think
You make an exception.
we should make an exception
I
and
didn't
give
get
their
my money back for my airline ticket, and I had
Yeah.
insurance.
Well, then talk to your insurance lady.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
They'll give you a voucher, but you gotta use it by the end of the
So-
year.
We're gonna be nicer
2
than
years.
those insurance companies,
Yeah.
we're gonna be friendly.
So
2
then,
years now.
Jan, the ones that are still want their reserved, then they can be reserved. And if they wanna have 100 people there, and they wanna do the same thing, it's just like all the people rushing to a lacrosse bar just the other day.
Yeah.
It's 175
Or
people.
you just go into a store.
Yeah, it's no different from Walmart.
Walk
No
into
different
the
than walking to
urgent
Harbor Hank.
and-
I mean, you
That
try
would
to
be-
social
So
distance,
Unless
if
they
they
call
can't,
and ask,
people
we
watch
just aren't
their
gonna,
right, if they don't ask,
I
we're
don't
not
wanna
gonna.
call every single
No,
person
no.
and say,
If
do
they
you want
call
it?"
and ask and say,
Okay.
If they
Yeah.
call and they want the refund, give it to them.
Yep.
Okay.
but then say
And
then,
if they don't call, then they don't
Then
they're
want,
okay with
they
it.
wanna
Yep,
keep
yep.
going.
They wanna
Yep.
keep going.
That's fine.
I agree.
that work? Then it's gonna,
I just think that Donnie Runger is gonna be so busy cleaning the bathrooms, he's not gonna know what's going on. Anyway, good enough, I think we hashed it out, all right?
all right.
Okay.
All right, perfect, all right, Arbor Day follow-up.
Oh, no, Parkland.
Yep.
Parkland
Oops, I am
dedication.
sorry, Parkland dedication fees update, I hear that Tim's gonna,
Tim's gonna talk a little bit about this,
that.
but just I wanna go through what we did back in February. We did, talk about, you know, it used to be, I bought the old stuff back, it used to be 10% of acre value, with the acres being valued at 8,000, I mean, so we used to get like $1,000 for an acre, wasn't it, or something like that?
$800.
$800 for an acre,
Yeah.
yeah. So what we talked about in February, if people weren't here, we recommended that we would move to $300 per lot in each subdivision. Go away from our 10% of acre value, okay? And with that, I'm just gonna let Tim,
Sure.
see what the discussion was.
Well, I know the council had, we had talked about this, and I'm glad we had this opportunity to update you. At that council meeting where they addressed this issue, our city engineer actually suggested a slightly different, method, which I think is prudent, because obviously lots can be different size. So what, I think the council had decided to go ahead with was what's called a resident equivalent unit. So, for example, if we say, you know, a single-family home on 10,000 acres is one unit, let's just use that as an example, which would be, you know, a good-sized lot, a standard lot in Caston. In fact, my lot's smaller than that, but we pick you know, equivalency there, and we set that. Then, depending on the lot size, you would multiply that out. And so, for example, like we'd take $300 times each resident equivalent unit. So I build a single-family home, it'll be $300 if it's, you know, 10,000 square feet or less. You know, for somebody who's got 20,000 square feet, it would be 2 resident equivalent units. So that, they felt like, I think that would be more fair, as opposed to, you know, Dan's got a nice acre lot, and he's only paying that, and then somebody's got a townhome, and they're paying that. So, and that's what some other cities do as well. So we'll have that process fleshed out, and that'll be part of the new fee schedule we'll be setting this fall. We also are planning on letting the developers know ahead of schedule, so that they can implement that as part of their, you know, their charges they'll be asking people. So that's kind of what we end up doing with it. We do think it's gonna generate a substantial amount, probably almost a 30% gain on our parkland fee dedication, which is great, because that, you know, extends the amount of money that Ronnie potentially can utilize by almost a third. So it's very helpful to us. I mean, we know there's some underserved areas. Ronnie and I have talked about some of the areas we'd like to see some additional park, you know, land. You know, we're growing fast. Some of these developments are pretty tight. You know, fortunately, I live by the school, so I can kind of utilize that green space, but, you know, I don't really have a park right next to me or anything like that, and a lot of neighborhoods don't, so. But, I think that's kind of where we're at right now, so.
Good. Any
Okay.
questions?
Okay.
Good.
Well, all
Thanks,
right,
Tim.
thank you, Tim. All right, Arbor Day follow-up.
Arbor Day follow-up, we did have our Arbor Day celebration in the cold,
And snow?
oof, it was really February.
Well, you'll be out in the
May.
open like that.
All
Oh my
right.
gosh.
So, it was really good, we had like 4 Lions members, come, and then we had, Tim and, our mayor, Chris McCurran came, and, we had a picture taken by, Wayne Hendrickson, and me and Chris whatever were there from the park department, and, we had a nice little celebration, planted a couple trees, everything went good, I think there was a little article in the DCI about it.
Photo was great.
Yeah.
The photo coverage was an excellent photo. I mean, like sharp there with my sunglasses on.
So, yeah, everything I think really went well, and that stuff except for the weather, of course, but it's part of our Tree City USA
Yep.
deal, of course, and, I appreciate whoever came and, got us through another year, whatever, 40 years now. And then with that, me and Tim still, when it dries up, I looked at the ditch on the way into work this morning out there, and that, she's pretty wet, we don't wanna be tramping through there, cause the ditches are full of water yet, but we got Tree City USA signs that we're gonna put up, possibly out there on the big, that says welcome to Cassidy cement thing, out by Herbst, and then one out here, and we'll decide how we're gonna mount it, or where we're gonna mount it, and we'll go from there, but, we wanna have our Tree City USA thing, out there for people to see it, and got a nice yellow 40-year sticker that's put on the sign, so it's pretty nice, so, okay?
Cool. All right, correspondence, anybody?
Well, I've just got one thing, I don't know what else is on the agenda, but, just wanted to note, I did talk to department heads about featuring their departments. I mean, if you've read the newspaper the last couple of months, it's pretty slim. I know that, we have some great parks, we have some great facilities. I've asked, department heads to look to create an article, so one would be a Park and Rec article, so, you know, we might wanna have a member of the Park and Rec board, maybe Liza or someone who could, you know, if you don't mind asking a few questions. We're looking at just trying to show off. I mean, we do so many good things, and I think sometimes what I've seen is that Casson hasn't taken credit for them. You know, so we're always gonna get blamed when something bad happens, but when you have a great parks department, when you have all these, you know, trees that we plant, I mean, it's nice for people to know what the scale of this is, and I mean, as long as it's slow news-wise, they're willing to run some of these articles, you know, take some pictures, show off some of the things we're doing. So, just so you're aware that hopefully over the next month or two, you know, the streets, that'll be something we'll kind of, you know, feature kind of what we're doing there, the parks, you know, sewer plant. I mean, it's just nice to have that positive publicity too, so.
Sure, no, that's an excellent idea.
Like I said, I talked to the new guy down there and that stuff, he said, whenever you guys, as far as the park board or the Park and Rec department has any event going on or anything that, you know, that he wants, please get a hold of me, we'll come in, we'll take pictures, we'll do articles, we'll do whatever we need to do. He said to kind of get it going like what Tim was saying, so, okay? If you guys have some certain things that you guys would like to see, you know, in this, article, whatever, get a hold of me and I'll get together whatever I can put together, and if you guys have some other things, please email it to me and we'll get it all put together.
When you do it, just make sure you note that how you're doing all the service with limited number of people too.
Oh.
It's a small group,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
you know,
Mhm.
let people know
Yeah,
how much you do with how few people.
yeah, and it's the
Just-
truth, it is,
no.
we have a lot of stuff going on, I know, and we're in charge of, or we're, you know.
Just so people understand more of what you guys do, sometimes they don't understand
Yeah, what
all
we're,
of it.
yeah, no, that sounds good, Anything else?
When's the next meeting date?
it would be June 16th, 2020.
Okay.
Oh, that'll be a good day. Gives us enough time, hopefully they got stuff out for us, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
We gotta
boy,
think
take
positive.
the blame. Yes,
We gotta
think
be positive.
So I got a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Yeah, I got.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, meeting adjourned.
thanks, everyone.
Yep. Thanks for coming, Jim.
Ugh.
Thanks, Tim.
You bet.
Tennis
There
court.
you go.
Tennis court.
Yeah.
Mark told me the school paid her to fix those two, if we
Yeah.
build 4 more.
Yeah,
That's what he told me.
Oh, did he? He tells me
Mark
the same
did?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I gotta see him tomorrow morning, we got our joint venture
I was-
meeting.
Well, there you go, bring it up with him. He told me last week they have money to fix those two if we build